Hey y'all, as you can tell by the title of this video, we are doing my 2 year, it's actually over a little bit of 2 years. 2 years was in October, so I'm kind of late with it, but for the sake of the title, we'll say it's 2 years. But it's probably been about 2.5 years since I have been a travel nurse, which is crazy. Like, time really just be flying. So we're just gonna get into the video. I'm gonna give y'all, I guess, like my little thoughts on what I think of it thus far, what I've experienced thus far, and kind of what I didn't know or what I've experienced or learned on this journey 2.5 years in. So let's get straight into the video. So the first thing that I learned for me is that it is essential that I take off time in between contracts. If y'all hear the snoring, y'all already know that's your cousin. He didn't work a 12-hour shift, he tired. But anyway, I have worked back-to-back contracts and I feel like I get burnt out a whole lot more. So it is essential for me to take time off in between contracts. And I'm not talking about a couple weeks. Like, I need a month or a couple months. So every time I go into my contract, I go in with the mindset of like stacking. Like, I'm not, which we'll get into another point, but the mindset of like, you're not gonna be working for at least a month. And so I stack my money up so that I can take off a couple months because I just need that reset. Y'all know that working in a hospital, it could be taxing. Even if you do have a easy assignment, just going into a place where you're constantly dealing with sick people, not only them being sick, but all of their problems in life. You know, this last contract I was on, I was dealing with homeless people. That was a whole new avenue for me. People staying in the hospital because they don't have anywhere to go, and not even just because they didn't have anywhere to go, but like them like not wanting to leave because they didn't have anywhere to go. Like, being in a hospital setting was a luxury for them, which in my mind I couldn't fathom. Just like wanting to stay in a hospital, like I would want to go home, but if you don't have a home, like obviously you got running water, you got people feeding, you got people taking care of you, like opposed to you being outside. Like, yes, that is a luxury. And so I say all that to say that it is essential for me to take breaks between contracts. I do not like to just go back to back to back. And then it also determines my mood. Like, at the beginning of a contract, I'm like, okay, let's get it, let's go. I'm ready to knock out these 13 weeks. But if I don't take a break in between contracts, like, I'm dragging going in there. Like, I'm not my best self. So I just need to replenish and recharge before I go to a new contract. I know a lot of people like to, especially like if a contract ends and you want to extend, if I could get them to give me 3 to 4 weeks off, like, then I'll extend. But if not, like, I'll just keep my options open and close out the contract because I need to fill my cup back up. You get so depleted being a nurse. Like, for me, because I'm an empath and I feel like I'll be taking on all my patients' problems, like, I have to remove myself from the hospital setting altogether and go reset and recharge. So that is one thing that I learned. Do not, for me, I don't like going to a contract like back to back to back, because then I don't want to say my work ethic, because I'm gonna still go in and do my job, but you know, like, I'm just not the best version of myself when I'm working back to back like that. Especially like this last contract, I did 48 hours. I rarely ever do that, but I had like a money mindset and I was like, I just gotta get it because I'm not disciplined enough to do 36 hours and then pick up a shift. After my 3 days, I'm done. So it's no picking up. So I felt like, well, you know, if I force myself, if I'm on a contract for 48 hours, I have no choice. And so after this contract, it was a definite, even though it was an easy assignment, it was a definite like, no, you need to chill out and take some time off. So for me, in between contracts, and I recommend for everybody, like, that's the point of doing travel nursing. I work really only 6 months out of the year, if we being honest. And I love that for myself because the other 6 months I can focus on what I want to focus on, go be with my family, go travel, go chill, do nothing. Like, I love that about travel nursing. You have that option. So for me, I have to take time off in between contracts. So another thing that I learned that we just talked about is to stack your money like you're going to get fired tomorrow. I know with travel nursing, because we get paid every week typically, and some people get paid every day, but you get paid every week and the pay is good. My check, even on I don't want to say a bad contract, but a lower end contract, still equates more than what I was making as a staff nurse in a 2-week period. And so I know you can kind of get accustomed to that type of money. But when I go into contracts, I'm going in with the mindset that I might not be there tomorrow. because they might fire me, they may cancel my contract. I mean, you never know what happened. They might not have the need anymore. And so every check that I get, I'm stacking it like it's my last. I know we can get in, or I could get into a move where I have like my tricking off phase. Like if I ain't had money in a minute and I start getting my checks, it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go buy this, I'm gonna do that. None of that. I am stacking my money because you literally never know. With traveling, it's so unpredictable, and I know what my bills look like. I don't ever want to be in a position or a situation where I can't pay my bills because I wasn't being responsible with my money. So if it was one thing that I learned, because I have been on assignments where my contract was canceled or they didn't renew it, and not that I was having trouble finding a job, but it may have like took a little bit longer because I was being specific about where I wanted to go. But stacking my money is a must. Like stacking my money as if I'm not going to have a job, because you literally just never know. You don't have an issue. I feel like as a travel nurse finding a job, like there are jobs all over the country. Even if you want to go out of the country, that is not an issue. We are always going to be in demand. People are always going to be sick, and we have job security. But I always go in with the mindset that I may not get a check next week, and so let me stack this up and save it for a rainy day. Or if I don't, if I can't find an assignment, or it's taking me longer to find an assignment, or I get canceled at the last minute, I don't go in with the mindset of like, oh, I could just make this up, or I'm gonna get paid next week, because you literally never know. And I've been in several situations like that, where not even just where my contract had got canceled, but where I knew that I was going to take time off. And if I was going to take time off, I needed to make sure that my bills were taken care of. And so me having that mindset gives me the option, if I don't want to go right back to work after I take my time off, to have that security, to have that blanket, to have that emergency fund, to have that money to say, I could just chill right now. And so that's one thing that I would recommend. If you can, stack as much money as you can and pay off your bills, pay off your debt and stuff like that. But always create a cushion for yourself, because you don't want to be in a situation where, like I said, you're on a contract and it's canceled, and now you're like, dang, I just spent that last check. How am I going to pay my bills? So be responsible with this money. You are making a lot of it. Don't fumble the bag. So another thing that we'll talk about is the money still good. When I do a lot of coaching calls in regards to travel nursing, a lot of nurses are asking like, is it still worth it? I know that y'all not making COVID money. And the answer is a simple yes. I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I just told y'all that my check in 1 week on a lower end contract is still better than what I would be making as a staff nurse in a 2-week period. And so even though the contracts are on the lower end now, and when I say on the lower end, I'm meaning like 2,000, between the 2,000 and 3,000 range. To me, that's still good money to be making every single week. Mind you, this is not a 2-week period, and these are 36-hour contracts. 48, it would be even better, because then you get overtime rates and stuff like that. But for a 36-hour contract, at this time, what is it? April of 2023, way past COVID, where now COVID is now a normal thing. You can make $2,000 to $3,000 every single week on a lower end contract. And so when people ask me, is it still worth it? Absolutely. I would never, I know you shouldn't say never, but I don't ever see myself being in a situation where I have to go back to staff nursing. Travel nursing is not going anywhere. It's been around for a very long time. I feel like it got a little bit more popular during COVID, but it's a normal thing. Like, these agencies are not going anywhere. These hospitals are not going to stop hiring travelers. We're always going to be short staffed. There's always going to be a need for us. And so people ask, do you recommend still getting into it because of the money? And let me preface this, y'all know it's nothing wrong with doing travel nursing for the money. I specifically do travel nursing for the money. If I'm going to be in these high stress environments, because remember, as a travel nurse, you're there to meet a need. So 10 times out of 10, when you're going in there, you don't know how bad that need is. Typically, it's going to be short staffed, so you are coming in to help out. You're coming in to meet a need. If I'm going to come in a high stress environment where I don't have the resources, I don't have the staff, yes, you're going to pay me what I am owed. And so it's nothing wrong for going into travel nursing for the money. But people ask, you know, do I still feel like it's lucrative and worth it to go into it, even though the rates are not the same as they were like when I first started? Absolutely. When y'all come to me and y'all say y'all are tired of living check to check, and y'all try to, it's so weird to me that like people try to make up an excuse why they want to make more money. It doesn't have to be any like drawn out explanation. You want a better quality of life. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so I tell people all the time, get into travel nursing if you can. I know everybody doesn't have that luxury to do it because you may have obligations, but I don't think a lot of y'all realize that you could do local contracts. Like, you don't have to go outside of your state. I am in Georgia and I do local contracts around here. I haven't traveled out of the state probably like in a year and a half, I think. My last contract was like in Michigan, so everything that I've been doing since then has been in Georgia, where I just kind of been chilling at. And so always keep that in mind, because I get that you guys get comfortable and you're like, I don't want to go to another hospital, or I can't go to another state. I feel like you should never get too comfortable making more money, or you should never let fear stop you from making more money, especially if you're tired of living check to check. Like, operate in abundance. I don't want this to be like no whole speech or whatever, but I just don't like when y'all come and y'all are like letting fear keep y'all from operating in abundance. It's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting more money or wanting a better quality of life for yourself. What was we talking about, child? I done lost track. But the point is, I do think travel nursing is still worth it. I still think that the money is good. And if y'all are still thinking about doing travel nursing, do it. So while we're still talking about money, I wanted to get in and talk about my taxes. Y'all remember the first video, I think I talked about how I had to pay $5,000 in taxes, and I just couldn't comprehend like why, because I made more money, that meant that I had to pay more in taxes. And the trick around that is to get you some LLCs. That is how the rich people, not saying that I'm rich, are writing off a lot of stuff on their taxes. There are so many benefits to having an LLC. As y'all know, I have several businesses, and when I hired my CPA, and any of y'all who are looking for somebody to do your taxes, specifically somebody who is well versed with travel nurses and business and stuff like that, I can definitely give you my information for my CPA. But now I no longer have to pay money back. Actually, I did have to pay the state of Georgia some money back for my taxes this year, nowhere near what I had to pay before, but that's because I did 99 on my taxes. I didn't allow them to take out money for a certain period of time on my taxes. But other than that, it's literally getting somebody who is well versed with travel nursing and how our money works, and then getting you a business. Get you a legitimate business. That is how people who have money are not paying as much as in taxes. It's kind of the same thing like when you have a house, you know, that is a write-off, or when you have a children, that is a write-off. So think of things that I guess are like assets, if I'm saying it right. I'm not well versed in this area, but I'm just like trying to use common sense. But get you things that are an investment, and your business is an investment. And so I have learned, this is my second year doing my taxes as a travel nurse, and so I have learned from the first year, it was like, I am not doing that again. I don't think I was supposed to pay $5,000 that first year. I think because I did it on my own, that's why. No, I actually had somebody else do it, but he was just like a regular tax preparer. I don't think he knew about like all the deductions and stuff that I can get as being a travel nurse. And Jen, did I have a business? I think I had a business too, but I just think he wasn't well versed in it. So get you somebody who understands taxes, understands the business, understands like all the deductions that you can get and stuff like that, so that you do not have to pay a lot of money back in taxes. As a travel nurse, you're going to make a lot of money. I didn't even work, and this is a humble brag. Y'all know I don't mind talking about money. I didn't even work the whole year, and I made $100,000. I think I worked January, February, March, April, May, June, and then I didn't go back to work until December. So I worked, and that was like late December. So I worked like 6 months out of the year last year and I made $100,000. So you're going to make a lot of money, and these are on lower end contracts. Keep that in mind. So get you somebody who understands your finances. Do not play with Uncle Sam. Give Uncle Sam all the money that is due to him. Talk to your tax preparer so you should know how you should move, what you can and can't do, what would be a benefit to you. But if I can say one thing, get your taxes under control early. You do not want to go to jail for not paying your taxes. You do not want to owe Uncle Sam anything. So get your taxes under wraps sooner than later, so that you are reaping the benefit of your money. Like it's nice to be able to make, wait, what is that? Oh girl, it's nice to make it's nice to be able to make money, but you want to keep a lot of that money in your pocket. Next thing I want to talk about is I spoke on this in the first video about keeping your options open and not working with just one agency. And I tell y'all to do what I say and not as I do, because I didn't like take my own advice until I actually needed to. But keep your options open. Work with multiple agencies. And I say this, and maybe I'll give y'all a story time. Let me know if y'all want a story time on this. But I got banned from a whole entire hospital system. Not technically, like I can still work with them, but the situation, how it arose and why I can't go back and work there is I'm moving on for that. If y'all want a story time on what happened, I'll give it to y'all. But I say that to say, because I was only working with one agency at the time, it had limited my options, because that agency basically dealt with all of the hospitals in that state. Like that state was the state that I was working in was known for you know, having a system of hospitals, and they only worked with that agency, and so that limited my options to that. And so it wasn't until that issue happened and it was like, oh, now I have to go work with other agencies. And not that is a big deal. It just kind of is time consuming when you're going to different agencies, because you have to get all your labs done again. You have to send over references. It's a lot of prep work to even get to the point of them submitting you for a job. So it was easier for me to stick with one agency after each contract, because it's like you already have all of my information. All you have to do is submit me and I'm good, versus like going to 2 and 3 different agencies. You know, you got to do your skills checklist. You got to send in your labs. You got to send in your references, send in all your paperwork, your social security number. And not that that is a big deal. Like obviously it can be done, but it can be time consuming, especially when you are trying to get on an assignment quick, which is cool why I take months off in between, so that if I am going to a different agency, I do give myself time to do it. But that is one lesson I learned on my own. Like I had to learn it, even though I knew it. Like I had to be put in a situation to be like, okay, let me go work with several other agencies, because it just opens up your options, so that if you ever even get, it may not even be a situation where you're like, bam, but sometimes you may not like the agency, or they might, y'all will see, like agencies are a trip. All of them are not created equal, but all of them got the same goal in mind, and that is to make money, the most amount of money for themselves. And so you'll learn just how to move. But I definitely recommend like initially setting up like the basics with at least several different agencies. And I told y'all, like, pit them against each other. Look, this person over here is giving me this much money. Can you match that? Or I know that they charge, this is how much money they're giving for this contract over here. Can you, like, they all have one common goal. It's really a money game. And so to make sure that you are in the best possible situation, don't do what I did. Not that it put me in a bind or anything like that, because it's nothing. It's, when I say it's so many agencies out here, I'm talking about so many. But what I did love about the fact that when I had to step out and, you know, go to another agency, it opened up my options. Like I said, the one agency that I was working with, they only worked with a certain hospital system. And so although it was easy for me to get an assignment with them, when they said, oh, you can't work with this hospital system no more, it was like I didn't have any more options to work with that specific agency. And so I had to broaden my horizons and step out and go to try several other different agencies. But keep your options open. That you can even be honest, like I told y'all before. Okay, so when it comes to housing, I've never had this issue, but in just working as a travel nurse, obviously you talk to your other colleagues, and housing has been, I don't want to say an issue, but I deal with housing a little bit differently now. Now that I'm doing local contracts, like I don't really have to worry about housing because I just come back home. But if I was in another state, because your contract has been canceled, like literally, or even before you get there, like the day before, I recommend, instead of like signing like a short-term lease, because before, like I went through I'm having a brain fart. What is the name of the furnish finders? I would go through furnish finders or Airbnb. Those things can be like very concrete, especially with Airbnb. Like you're not gonna necessarily get all your money back if you can't stay, and especially with furnish finder. Now I heard it's a little bit different. I haven't used furnish finder like probably in a year, but somebody had asked me about it recently, and they were saying like, oh, they had to do like this background check and they had to pay for it, which I think I kind of did have to do it. It's so long, my memory is shot. But anyway, the point that I'm making is that when you are doing housing, I recommend getting a hotel at least for a week or two before you sign. My dog is so loud. Caleb! Hey! Sorry, y'all. I recommend getting I recommend getting a hotel for at least 2 weeks before you commit to a location, a house or apartment or wherever you may stay, just so that you are not kind of stuck in the bind if they decide to cancel your contract like early on. Again, your contract can get canceled at any point of your assignment, and so it's not a real way to kind of play it safe, because you can think like 2 weeks in like, oh, okay, this is cool, they're gonna keep me, and then like a month before your contract end, they're saying like, oh, we're gonna cancel your contract. And y'all know, like, which is so crazy about travel nursing, because they can cancel a contract on you, but if you cancel a contract, like all hell is breaking loose. It's so weird. But the point I'm making it about housing to kind of make it easier on you, and so you're not like kind of stuck in a situation where you're paying for rent because of something, because they canceled a contract. I recommend just getting a hotel, filling out the facility, filling out if they are going to have a need for you. And then also by getting a hotel, then you can kind of weigh your options. You can talk to other people, see what areas are good to live in, where other people are living, what are their housing arrangements. Maybe you can room with somebody there, like once you meet somebody. Like, it just keeps your options open so that you are not like stuck in a situation where it's like, oh, they canceled my contract early and now I have to stay at this place, even though I'm not working there. Because I know that has happened to a few people where they went and they signed this like short-term lease like for three months, and then all of a sudden the hospital was saying, we no longer have a need for you, we're cutting your contract short, and so now you're stuck paying rent somewhere without a job. And so I just recommend like getting a hotel to kind of feel out the situation. I don't want to scare y'all, because it's not like it happens all the time. This is just me like having my ear to the streets and seeing like people being in certain situations. It has never happened to me. Every contract that I've been on, I've never got canceled early. I have been in situations where they decided not to renew me because they just didn't have a need for me, but I've never got canceled early. But I do know that people do get canceled early, and so to mitigate that issue, I definitely recommend like getting you a hotel like for the first few weeks so that you can just feel out the area. You can keep your options open, and you're not like obligated very early on to be in a contract, like a short-term lease. I mean, if you're travel nursing, you'll probably have the money to break the lease, but we're trying to save as much money as possible. And so I just recommend, like I said, just getting a hotel, an extended stay somewhere, so that you can fill out the area, fill out the assignment, and then go from there, versus like trying to be locked into something early on. And I do see like a lot of people worry about like housing, like, oh, I can't find it. Like, give it time. When I was in North Carolina, I think I moved 3 times. It's not ideal, but I moved to 3 different places. If y'all watch my story, y'all know it was an Airbnb first. That situation did not work out. Then I moved into another place that was more ideal, but wasn't like the aesthetic that I was looking for, but it was better than my last situation, so I just went ahead and moved in there. And then the 3rd time I moved into something that I actually really loved. And so you got to be patient with it. Remember, you are not staying there forever, so it's not like this is a permanent situation. but just to keep your options open, and so you're not committing to something too early before you really know what you're getting into, I just recommend staying in a hotel, at least for the first couple of weeks. So the last thing that I want to speak on is more about for like your sanity. When you go to these facilities, do not go in there trying to change the world, change the culture of the environment. You will learn that, especially if they still have like a lot of staff on their team, or maybe not a lot of staff, but they have like people who have been there for a while, you will learn that them people are set in their ways. Do not go in there trying to change them, be friendly, super friendly, or you go. The point I'm trying to make is go in and do your job and leave. That is it. Do not go in and try to get into the politics and change the culture. And you will just learn that people are very, adults are just very, I don't know, like immature and catty and drama filled and always in mess. Don't get involved in none of that. And I say that because I haven't been in a situation per se, but I see like certain stuff. I see like travelers get fired because, they want to go up against the nurse manager because they said something to them, or they didn't do this, or they not being fair. It's like, listen, you only got to be at this place for 13 weeks, sometimes 8 weeks minimum. Go do your job and leave. Do not get involved in any of that drama. That's why you do travel nursing, so you don't have to deal with the politics. It's like, you got to be there. I don't. I'm only coming here to do my job and leave. And so I say this, like, please, if you are in a situation, obviously, where you feel like your license is in jeopardy, it's a safety issue, yes, speak up by all means. You worked hard for your license. Don't just go along with the flow because you are scared that somebody might not like you, or they gonna say something about you. If your license is in jeopardy, speak up. But when it comes to the just like little stuff about, oh, they said this, or they being unfair over here, y'all, take my word of advice, because I see it so many times. A lot of people, and not everybody is like this. I don't want to, let me preface it by saying that I'm not making a general statement, but sometimes when you go into these facilities and it's people who have been there for years, they could just be very catty and be like on a power trip. And it's like, you trying to go in there and change the status quo, like, you doing yourself a disservice. Literally get to the bag and dip out. Do not get involved in any of that drama, the politics. Also, too, don't be talking to your colleagues. If you want to date somebody, date them after you have done your assignment. I see so many people on every single assignment where they talking to the doctors, they talking to, like, be professional. I get it. If you find love somewhere, more power to you, but it's a certain way that you gotta move. Don't be talking. I've seen so much drama in the travel nursing world, like where people talking to married men and women and doing it to the doctors. It be like, I'd be baffled by it, because you're not gonna catch me talking to nobody at work. If it's somebody that like me, we gonna talk after that. If we talking, act like you don't even know me, because one, I don't even want nobody in my business. So keep it cute, keep it professional. Do not get mixed in any of the drama and the politics. Go do your job and do it well. You know what they say, document everything that you need to document, but don't get caught up in none of that stuff, because that's not what you're there for. You are literally there to meet a need and make your money. Go make your money and leave. You don't want any extra added stress onto your life. The job is probably already going to be stressful. Even if it is an easy assignment, just taking care of somebody, period, it's stressful. Don't be getting mixed up in none of that stuff. I don't want that for y'all. And I have seen this. On every single assignment, I see some type of drama, whether it's drama between colleagues, drama between leadership, drama with the higher, it just baffles me that people be getting caught in mess. When I go in there, I'm friendly. I'm definitely friendly. I help out. I let it be known I'm here to help. I'm very observant. So if I see somebody running around and I'm caught up, yeah, I'm going to help you. I get that what my purpose is. I'm an asset, and my asset is that I'm flexible. I'm there to meet a need. And so I'm definitely always friendly. I'm definitely always helping out. But that's where the buck stops. We not about to be like, you gotta use your discernment. Everybody not gonna be your friend there. You're not gonna be able to trust everybody. Don't be telling everybody your business. Do not gossip, period. I don't care what nobody come to say to you. Like, keep it cute. If y'all understand what I'm saying, go make, I've probably seen this a million times, but go make your money in dip. Do not get involved in none of that stuff. If y'all understand me, let me know in the comments. Because I just be seeing some wild stuff, and I just be like, girl, don't do it. Or like, don't get involved. Like, it's never worth it. Like, you are not there for a long time. You are not there for a long time. So it's like, just keep the rapport cute. Keep it cute, keep it professional, mind your business, do your job, help out when you can, and dip. Nothing more, nothing less. If y'all catch my drift, if y'all get what I'm saying, y'all get what I say. If y'all understand where I'm coming from, let me know in the comments. So the last thing that I want to talk about is make sure that it's in your contract. I'm pretty sure I touched on this in the first video, but whatever you want, make sure it's in your contract, because they'll be quick to be like, if it's not convenient for them, oh, that's not in your contract. If you only want block scheduling, oh, that wasn't in your contract. If you want these days off, oh, that's not in your contract. Make sure whatever you want is in your contract so that you don't have no issues going forward. You'll learn that once you get on certain assignments, everybody is different. Like I said, everybody, hospital is not created equally. We're dealing with human beings in a leadership position. Some people abuse their power. Some people micromanage stuff. Some people are just very laid back. I've been on assignments where, you know, I had a manager said, just give me your schedule. Let me know what days you want. Don't be talking about you want every weekend off, but for the most part, like, whatever day you want to work, just let me know. And then I have some managers who's like, nah, I'm gonna put you where I need you. I ain't thinking about, especially because I work night shift. I had some managers who would have me one day on, one day off, one day on, one day off. It's because it's like, this is where I need you. I'm not really here to make your life convenient. If I need you like that, then that's what it is. And so you will learn very early on, you know, you feel people out. But if you want to make it easier for you, typically I will always put in specific days that I request off. It is never a lot. Mind you, it's only 13 weeks. So, you know, if I had something already pre-arranged, like, I will put those dates in. But for the most part, I just work my 13 weeks straight because I know I'm about to be off for the next few months. I know I'm about to take a break. So it's nothing. And then with the agency that I was with, I had like sick days. So if I ever needed to take a day off, a mental health day or whatever, like, I had that option to do it. It's very hard to accrue sick time with the agency. But because I was with one agency, I was able to do it. But put it in your contract. If you don't want to work charge, put that in your contract. If they do make you work charge, make sure that that rate is in there in your contract. If you want time off, put it in your contract. If you only want block schedule, put it in your contract. If you don't want to work any weekends, put it in your contract. Like, y'all catch my drift, because you don't know what situation you're walking into. You don't know what type of person you're dealing with. Like I said, you have people who are super relaxed, super chill, and then you got some people who are like on a power trip and want to micromanage you, and they want to control everything. And so just to mitigate like having any issues going forward, just make sure it's in your contract. That's the moral of the story. Whatever you want, whatever you need, make sure it is approved in writing in your contract. All right, y'all, so that is the end of the video. I feel like my 2.5 years as a travel nurse, like, I've overall had a good experience. Like, with anything, like, there are going to be ups and downs, but like the general consensus of my journey and my experience as a travel nurse, I feel like has been good. I haven't had any real like issues. I haven't been put in positions where, you know, like, excuse me, like, where I felt like my license was going to be jeopardized. Like, typically I have like decent assignments. I just had like one horrible assignment. I think that was just the point of life that I was going. It was a really crazy point in my life, and that was like the first assignment where I ever had 7 patients. But since then, I haven't been in situations where I've had like 7 patients, like 6 at the most, but that was also during the pandemic too. But I've had an overall good experience. Like I said, with anything, it has had its ups and downs, but like nothing that would deter me from not going back, or like, oh, I would never do travel nursing again. I feel like as long as I am in this field, well, y'all know I'm working on other stuff, but I feel like it is a good way to like get your feet wet, gain more experience, get more money, And just get the biggest bang for your buck. I just feel like staff nursing is just like, it's just not the move. Like, as hard as we work, I just feel like we should get paid adequately. And for me, I feel like if I ever go back to bedside, if I'm ever doing bedside, it is always going to be in a travel nurse capacity. So y'all let me know, especially y'all who have I had went back to my previous video and I just looked at the comments, and a lot of y'all on that video was like, oh, you inspired me to go ahead and travel nurse, or I'm about to pick up my first assignment for y'all. So y'all talk to me in the comments. Y'all let me know, for those who back in that video were going, let me know how it went for you. Like, what was your experience, some tips that you can actually add, because I see y'all talking in the comments all the time. So things that you feel like I may have missed out on, or just like your experience in general, how was it for you, and what would you recommend for people who are thinking about going into it? Did you love it? Do you feel like it's a good move to make? Just talk to me. Y'all know I love talking in the comments. And so until next time, y'all, sorry for Caleb back there snoring. Y'all know that man is, if he don't do nothing else, he gonna sleep. But until next time, I will talk to y'all in the next video.